Hello, everyone. This is Life Issue and this is Blessing. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I am to be talking about uncommon fate. Okay. Now, today is Sunday, and I want us to talk about moments in our life, especially as a working or a career person, where you have to use uncommon fate, or where you know that a situation becomes ordinary and you had to do something about it. Now, why am I talking about this? Okay, you guys know I have a group, a Facebook group with a lot of people that I'm mentoring, and sometimes I get this, chat being sent to me, people asking me a question and wanting to know what to do about a particular situation in their work life. Now, I've tried not to talk about work life because sometimes is more specific, like life specific or based on the kind of environment where you are, the kind of work where you are. So I cannot just generalize on things. But yesterday I had a phone conversation with a little girl who is really being distressed in her workplace. And when I was talking to her, I could relate myself in her and my experiences in life. So I've been working for the past, I think, 22 years now. So I started my first job when I was 2099. That was my first job when I started my first job. So I've worked in a lot of establishments. Now, if you talk about companies, like companies, I've worked up to like 8 companies, but I've been like, since I've been in the UK, I've gone to different schools to work also. So if I'm going to talk about companies and establishment that I've worked in, you could say up to 20 to 25 because I used to do supply. So I have seen things, and what I want to do is to talk through certain issues using my experience and giving advices to people, especially when it comes to your work life. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about first is the fact that nothing remains the same. You see, sometimes we think that we're in that work situation and it's so bad, nobody likes us, nobody wants to be your friend, nobody wants to, relate with you, but nothing remains the same. There are so many ways to go around it, okay? You can either change an organization, get another job, you can either work on yourself to become a better person, or you can actually just do the work. And what I've noticed is that no matter the persecution, no matter whatever people bring your way, if you know your job, if you are doing the job, if you know the job that you've been given and you're doing it very well, 78, 80% of the time, they can't do anything to you. We worry as Christian when we don't know the job. But when you are good at what you've been given to do and you are doing it very well, people can talk, people can do whatever they want to do, they can fight against you, but as long as you're delivering, they cannot do anything. Okay. See, you cannot help people, you can't stop people hating you, maybe for your color, maybe because of the way you sound. For us that live in this part of the world, we face a lot of persecution almost every day. I mean, people just don't like you because of the fact that you are black. I'm telling you, people just don't like it because of your accent. It's not as if you're ask, sometimes I kind of like ask myself a question. Do they actually understand the fact that some of us don't have a choice when we left our country? We had to go because we have to go. Some of us are here because of political reason, but we don't tell them our personal experiences or our reasoning why we are here. Some of us were persecuted when we left our country. Some of us don't have a choice because of economic situation, and we come over here. And then people, start talking to you anyhow or start acting anyhow. But as a person, whether you're in Nigeria or in Africa, in America or in the UK, the first thing you need to understand that if you know the job, if you are good at your job, let me tell you something, if you're a banker and you are delivering, you're always meeting your targets, nothing happens. Your boss may hate you, but as long as you are hitting that target, there is nothing anyone can do. I mean, if you are, let's say, you're a teacher and your class is always doing well, your colleagues may hate you. They may not like your accent. They might not like things about you. But as long as you are delivering, as long as the children are making progress, what would they do? They can only talk about you behind you. They cannot do anything to you. So the first thing I'm going to say is know the job very well. Remember that nothing, let me tell you, nothing. If you when I say this, people don't understand what I mean by nothing is constant. Nothing stays the same forever. Everything changes. And this gets me to people who are so uncomfortable dividing or trying to bring other people down. Let me tell you something. You can only do that for a particular phase of time. But what happens is that your inability to deliver, your inability to do the job, your inability to actually be able to be productive will be noticed by others. See, that boss that you are kissing his ass or her ass and do whatever they want you to do can be transferred. That boss can be sent to another location. That boss might be sent to another job. He might leave. So what happens? Your broadcast opens. People now know you for who you are. So as a Christian, what I'm going to say is, like, for the person that sent me a mail and said that she's tired about her job, people are persecuting her. She's all. Let me tell you something. If you're a Christian, know your job. If normally you put 5 hours in that job, put 7. I've had a situation in my life whereby I have to like close work at 7 or 6 just to put that extra time. I have to stay awake just to learn more so that the next day you will not have anything to say. You see, people that gets you when you give them a reason or when you give them a loophole. But when they cannot find any loophole, they can only talk and talk, but there's nothing candid to hold. Don't give them a reason. And as a Christian, learn to see, if you see you're not doing something, don't ever blend with the world. One thing I've learned in life is to separate myself from office gossip. I don't do it. I don't have time. Now, if you've ever known me, if you ever, I don't have time for, I came, when I leave my house, when I leave my house and I'm going for a job, I am going for a job. My reason for being in an establishment is to work and to deliver. So I don't have time as a Christian to start talking about things or about people or have time to do that chit chat, because when you are not there, they will say you say. So you cannot want to be a Christian and do the right thing and also join that political atmosphere of backbiting or doing the wrong thing in the office. You need to learn how to separate yourself. I know sometimes you're kind of like, they will give, you have to be a team, you have to be a team member, you have to be, part of the team. The question you have to ask yourself is, what team? What team are they referring about? Is it backbiting team? Is it team that bring people down? Is it team that does not elevate? Is it team that is always having something negative to say about people? Do you want yourself involved in that team? Separate yourself. If you're a Christian and you separate, they need to know that you as a Christian, you are not part of that. You see, I used to have a situation in my life whereby, people would say, let's go out drinking. I'm like, I was in a quagmire. Should I go out drinking with them? Should I not? I think drinking is not a problem, but it is the people that you are drinking with. Do you understand? Are they really your friend? Are they going to come after you tomorrow? Are you comfortable letting your guides down in such situation? Do you understand? If people don't genuinely love you, why mingle with them? So I'm just going to say, first thing is remember, you cannot let your guard down. And you also need to establish who you are and what you are in that your office environment. Do you understand? Now, I want to talk about something that, it has come up so many times in my life as as an employer, as an employee, and as an employer. And it's called unconscious bias. Now, I'm going to define it before I talk about it. It's an implicit association, whether about people, places, or situation, which are often based on mistaken, inaccurate, or incomplete information and include the personal history we bring to the situation. Now, in the UK, there is this big, workplace discussion about unconscious bias. Now, you need to understand that someone will hate you just for you being yourself. Hi, Blessing. How are you? I'm just talking about work and how to handle work situation. There's, I've seen people that they haven't done anything to their boss, nothing. They've been so good. They have doing their work, and they are just not liked. Maybe someone said you said, or someone said you said something, and they have, when you have an office where they have a clique, and I keep wondering, how can an establishment grow when there is a clique, when there are people who are the chosen, there are people who are the untouchable, and if you look deep down into these people, most times they are the people who don't know the job. I'm telling you. Ask anybody who is experienced, who's been working in life for a long time. Most of this clique, like they form a clique. They are most times, if you unpick them and unpack them and unbundle them, there is something wrong. You don't need a clique if you know your job. You don't need anybody, management, to speak for you. You don't need management to fight for you if you know your job. So most times, 70 or 90% of the time, people that form clique are people who have a problem, a psycho problem, or an emotional problem, or they don't know the job, or they have a past history of being bullied or being a bully, and they've transferred that to the workplace environment. And then they think that it is okay to form a clique. And, when I see leadership or people who are in leader who don't understand that an establishment cannot thrive when you have people who are for you and people who are not for you. It doesn't thrive. I mean, I have been fortunate to be a manager. I've worked with people. And one thing I can pride myself is that when I was in the banking industry, if you come into my team, you don't know who is you don't even know who is the person in charge, because we relate to each other. We have a common goal. The common goal is to push the company forward, to deliver. And I keep saying it. Most of the people that I have in Nigeria, most of the people that even work for me, even in my group, are people that I've worked with. Because when we were working together, they were friends. I'm very strict. I can be very strict if I want to on the job. But after the job, once we are gisting, we are laughing, we're hanging out. Because it's on the job. There's nothing personal about it. Then you see people who become so divided. These people are this. These people are this. And when I see it in establishments, I ask myself a question. Why is it that leadership is not rotated? Why is it that leadership is not based on recommendation from junior workers? Why must somebody be a manager for 5 years, 10 years? Why can't the appraisal system be linked to the comments? Yeah. Hi, Ifeanyi. Hi, how are you? You see managers who are actually not qualified to be managers. You are a manager, and all you do is to bring a divide in the office. You are a manager, all you feel is that these people are your team. You can give these people, help. Then how do you think the other people who are also working for you feel? Until a system is put in place whereby people who lead actually are also accountable. There's a way the people that they are leading actually have a way to have an input in their performance management. All these things will not happen. I'm telling you. What I've learned. I talk about my life experience. because I've passed through a lot. Sometimes things are happening to me now, and I'm like, I laugh because I can trace it to one time in my life or what I've seen this before or whatever. And I keep telling people, you know what? One thing about an off, if it's not your business, if it's not your personal business, something will happen, something will change, something will give way. Do you understand? A manager cannot think that forever he will be in that position. I'm coming to my topic, which is uncommon faith, because I'm going somewhere. Because as a Christian, there are times when you need that uncommon faith. I'm getting there. I'm trying to build up to, what I meant by uncommon faith. And you need to come with me on this journey. Do you understand? You cannot, as a Christian, you are in an office. You are doing your job. You are doing the right thing. You are not a gossip. You are minding your own business. And people decide that they will not let you go. They will not mind their own business. I'll get it on common faith. So how are we that we hear and work towards it? I hope they will, but we need to be talking about it. And I want to talk about another thing that people in the UK are talking about. You see, unconscious bias is one of those things that you cannot. The point is that people will always associate you, whether because of where you come from. Maybe you're an Igbo person. Igbos, they behave this way. You're a Yoruba person. Yorubas, they behave this way. You're a black person. You are aggressive. You are this. And black people are this. And yet, these people are educated. I don't understand when people call themselves educated and they have this thing called unconscious bias. You have an inaccurate information about someone. You're not the first, but you didn't even get that information firsthand. You just make up your mind about someone because someone told you or they said and they said. And you see some organization. I don't know if you've ever seen whereby your colleague makes a mistake and your boss overlooks it. And then when you make it's not even a fraction of that mistake that your colleague made, yours is taken to the next portion. You are called for a meeting. It's as if all hell loses. I will tell you what to do, because sometimes we let certain things lie down and forgetting that we have a power within us. Remember, you do have a power within you. As a Christian, when do you start using that power? Do you know that in the Bible says that God says he will kill for you. He said if anybody just take a trade of your hair, just one trade, he can kill for you. When are we going to start using our power? When are we going to take those mountain moments, those moments of prayer, those midnight prayer to make sure that this person gets out of this office? Get out. You want me to go? Hey, no, I'm not going. You go before me. If you see, how can I don't want to call name, but we are Christians. When are we going to start tapping into the anointing and the power that we have in? Enough is enough. We have strong faith. This is not a matter of giving anything to a pastor or giving seed and offering. It is you standing on the authority that has been given to you by the blood of Jesus Christ and saying, this cannot go on. Somebody can just make up their mind about you and decide to victimize you in an office when you didn't do anything. You use your uncommon faith. You get that person out. That's how to do it. There's something else called microaggression. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this. This is everyday verbal, non-verbal, and environmental slights, snubs, or insults, whether intentional or unintentional. Yeah, people just make negative remarks about you, or they target one particular person. You go home, you are crying, you are suicidal, you don't know what you did to them, you don't know how you have offended them. You know it is targeted at you. You know that this is all about you. Do you understand? The question is, for how long do you, as a Christian, as a worker, let this happen? When do you stand up in your rights as a Christian? When do you use your power that has been given to you as a Christian? I got this definition because for some time now, there's this talk about conscious bias, microaggression in the workplace in the UK, especially with this pandemic that's happened, this Black Lives Matters, the fact that, people still don't understand that. They think that they are not racist. It baffles me where people treat people differently. Even in Africa, how can a Yoruba person say Igbos, they are like this? It is a racist remark. How can somebody say I cannot promote that Igbo man, or I cannot protect that Yoruba, I cannot promote that Yoruba person? It's a racist remark. How can someone see whenever you talk is something negative that they notice or that they see or that they hear? It is unconscious bias. It is a microaggression. And I made a video the other day and I say, you know what? It's about time you understand that when you're a Christian and you are put in an organization, you are put there by God. The only person, you see, until you know. If you don't know, you will not know. The only person that can remove you in an organization is God, no human being. As long as you are doing the first thing I said before, you know the job, you are good at your job, you don't have time for office gossip, you are perfect at what you do. They can try, they can meet, they can do whatever they want to do. They cannot get you out because you have been put there by God. Do you understand? Get good at what you're doing. Get the training. Do the studying. Be good at it. If you're a marketer, be a good marketer. It's not about the, compromising. It's about networking. Go out there and network. Get those contacts. Do it. And they will not sack you. What is the target? Bring it to God and say, God, you placed me in this organization. No one is taking me away. And if they want me to go, they will go first. So, yeah. Harome said, most people believe whatever fits their agenda about you. Double standard. That's what I'm saying. People just come up with a story about you. They don't like you for no reason. Just maybe because of the way you walk, or because of the way you roll your eyes, or because of the tone of your voice. Come on. That's the tone of my voice. Get used to it. And it's not going to change. So don't let people make you not be what you are, because don't be an ass kisser. The ass kissers are known for being, you think an organization, we don't know that someone is an ass kisser. We know those who are licking box. We know them. We know those, what they do is like, because they're incompetent. They don't know the job. And I'm saying it, I'm going to say it loud. They don't know the job. Most times, they are doing what they're doing because they don't know the job. Take away their comfort zone. Take away those people who give them that authority or that opportunity. And then you see them, the walls start cracking. The walls start cracking. So yeah, double standard. But do you let them continue with a double standard? Or do you as a Christian stand up for them and say enough is enough? Anyway, I didn't want this to be too much talk. I'm going to read some, posts that, because I had to put this on my news website and on my group. And I said I want to talk about what gives people advice about their office, because I'm tired of, some Black Nigerians and Black Africans complain about what's happening to them in their workplace. And I'm like, you know what? We all have passed through this and we're all still passing through it. But don't let them break you. Don't let them. You don't let any human being born by a human to break you if you're a Christian. They cannot break you. Be thick. You need to be very, very thick. Blacks don't crack. It's as simple as that. We don't crack. Just throw the stone at us. Keep throwing it. Let me tell you a question. If our forefathers cracked, are we going to be where we are today? If our patriots, if those that came before us, if they gave in to the things that were said about them, to how they made us to be ordinary slaves, cleaners, nobody, are we going to be having scientists as, black people? You think people like the fact that as a black person you are doing well? No, they think they don't. They think that they are not biased. In their mind they are not biased. In their mind they are. In fact, I'm not a racist. In fact, I am good, my dear. When you see a black person progressing, making decision, and you are jealous and you are angry, you are nothing but a racist. Let's call a spade a spade. This is my blog. This is my wall. When all you do is looking for faults, looking for a way to bring down a person who's not done anything, who's put everything there, trying to make the work progress, and all you are looking is to find out whether the person used an accent or not an accent, used a this or not a this, you are nothing but an unconscious biased person. This is what unconscious bias says. There's, we keep defining unconscious bias as if people don't know what it is. Why will you see a fellow person, because of the color of the person's skin, the person makes a mistake, you just laugh over it. Oh, it's okay, just put the S, put the B, it's fine, and you guys laugh over it. But once it's another person with another skin, it becomes a problem, or it becomes something, to be discussed about, or it becomes a PR meeting or a performance meeting or something to be, to be discussed by a group head or the management or the organization. It is called unconscious, but you are biased. Let's call what it is. That's what it is. There's nothing else about it. And, sometimes I'm going to read somebody's comments. This person said, good evening. Hi, how are you? Hi, Ahuba, how are you? I'm trying to discuss about this topic because I'm sick and tired of people thinking that the office environment is ever going to change. It's not ever going to change. It has been like this time immemorial, and it will continue. But as Christians, what do you do? When do you stand up and say enough is enough? Let me tell you something. For the past how many years now, I come back home and I cry. Like I leave work and I come back home and I cry. And I keep telling my husband, I can't do this. I was passing through a low. And I keep telling God, for how long? So we all pass through that time. We all pass through the time where we don't know what to do. We want to get out of that establishment. We want to run away. We want to move on. Do you understand? We pass through that moment. But what do you do as a Christian? You get in there, you wake up the next morning, you go back, you do the things you have to do. Do you understand? You do your best. They can see the fact that no one can pin you to anything. You put your hand up as a Christian. You say, no, Father, I am good at what I'm doing. Your faith needs to be strong as a Christian. Abuba say, I live in the UK and I find myself always being persecuted by my colleagues in the office. How do I handle this unconscious bias? You know what? Let me tell you something, Ahuba. From what I can see, you're black. Every black person that I have spoken to before I make this video, I'm going to give you the statistics if you guys want it. They've experienced this unconscious bias. You see, people don't even know when, the worst thing about it, that people don't even know when they are biased. To them is normal. Do you understand? And we need to keep talking about this. People think that they are not racist. Let me give you a simple example. Yeah, you come into a staff room. You come into a staff room and you just pick one person to say hello to, and you leave the other person. Why? When you look at it, one person is white, the other person is black. That is unconscious bias. When you decide to correct one person's maybe projects, but leave the other person's and say, oh, it's okay, it's fine, you know, it's fine. It is unconscious bias. You are biased. That is what it is. It is in DNA of people. They don't even know when they are exhibiting that kind of attitude to others. And it still boils down to Africa. When you say you are from the north, you are from the east, and you're working in the same office, you see an Igbo person who is good at their job. But when promotion comes, you overlook that person and you give it to a Yoruba just because that person is from that ethnic group. So it's DNA in human beings. But I hate when people say they're not racist. They don't have the unconscious bias, or that we're talking too much about the unconscious bias and all this stereotyping. Until you yourself do a self-search and admit to the fact that, yes, I have this problem and I'm looking for a way out of it. You need to admit that you are part of the problem. I'm telling you. You're making a mistake. You feel your mistake is okay, but another person's mistake should be highlighted. You are unconscious biased because you feel you have the right to that mistake. You can get away with it after all. It's unconscious bias. And who makes you better than the other person? You know, when I look at some of these things that happen, and I look at the fact that, look at the history, some of these things, these people are no more educated. They are not. They haven't even traveled. They haven't even been where you have been. Just because you find yourself in the UK. So yes, but that's what happens. You take shit because you find yourself in the UK, because our governments put us in this shit, in this situation. If our country is beautiful, if our country is run very well, will we leave our country and come to another? Well, of course we won't. But let me tell you something. As a Christian Ahuba, learn to use your right in God. If any colleague is persecuting you, all you need is a midnight prayer. Get on your knees. If they say they will keep you uncomfortable, you get them out by keeping them uncomfortable in your prayer. Enough is enough. I'm telling you, that's what I do. Right on, ma. I love your personality, always speaking out. You are the best. Thank you so much, Blessing. You know, me personally, I have over the years find out that people don't like people who say things the way they are. And to be frank with you, as a blogger, as someone who is a mentor, when I get all these chats and all these DM from people, especially young black, because my blogging is about young black, young girls who are black, who are facing through a lot of things, who are being called aggressive, who are said that they are very, vocal, who are being stereotyped. I get angry. I get angry because the society does not understand culture. They don't get the black culture. If, like the way I'm speaking now, somebody might say I'm angry. I'm not angry. If my son is here, I'll be laughing. That's the way mom speaks. But another person looks at you and tell you to be aggressive. It's not. This is culture. This is cultural. That's the way we speak. Get on with it. Move on. That's the way we speak. If you don't like it, don't come on my face. Then you will not get my black aggressiveness. That's what it is. Anyway, I think I'm running. Let me just read some of the questions that were sent to me by people who wanted me to talk about issues. Let me see. The first issue is, how do one cope with an overbearing boss who always complains about your work? Okay, first thing is your work good? You see, if a boss is complaining about your work and he's genuinely complaining about your work and your work is not good, you need to study. You need to learn the job. You see, you cannot bring a petition to God if you're not good at what you are doing. For you to use uncommon faith, for you to use a strong faith, for you to move that person out, when you are presenting your petition, you must tell God, God, see, I'm very good at this. I've done this. I'm so good at this, but this person is after me. I need this done. So, first of all, be very good at what you do. And if you're good and you feel that this person just doesn't like me for no reason, right? Because of the way my tongue is, or my eyes is, or my nyash is, or my hand is, that's why the person don't like me. It's about time for you to tap into uncommon faith. I call it dangerous faith. You know what? Let me tell you, back in the days as an African person, when we were passing through slavery and were being, put in chain, the proud people had to use juju. I'm just making a reference because they knew that the only way they could get out of this particular situation was through voodoo and juju. So they used juju. They had to use something. Go back to when I went to Salem, Massachusetts, when I went to Boston, I went to all these slave places and all the voodoo places. We saw all of some of the tying up of some of their slave masters and everything. And some of them get away or were able to run away from the plantation, land because of voodoo. They use voodoo to get out, to run away. Now we are Christians, okay? They've taken away our tradition, our olden ways of doing things, and most of us are Christians, and yet someone is oppressing you, and you are not using your uncommon faith as a Christian to get that person out or get that person out of your way. Come on, come on. Use the scripture. Remind God of what he said he would do. He said he will destroy cities for your sake. He will say he will make people for your sake. Let people be uncomfortable talking to you anyhow or treating you anyhow. If they need to leave that establishment because of you, they need to go. You know what? Let me tell you. I had a friend. I was a friend of mine. Before the pandemic, they called her for a meeting and they gave her an unreasonable, this is 2019. So they gave her an unreasonable condition for her work. You have to say this, you have to do 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 this. So she was also a teacher. It was so unreasonable. It was things that even as a teacher, we know that these things are just trying to frustrate you to get out of that environment. You're doing everything that they could to push her out. But she was good. They couldn't. So when she came and she told me about that, I said, you know what? What they asked you to do, you can do it, yeah? She says, that's okay, so tell them that you can do it. But after you have smiled at them and told them that you can do it, you don't stop there. You go to the inner chamber. You go to the inner room. You settle things. That's why I told her. I say, you need to go to the inner room. So somebody's sending me, I'm getting people sending me text messages and yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, people are sending me messages. I say, you go to the inner room and settle it. So she went back the next day. She smiled. She signed the contract. She said, you know what? I will do it. You want me to say good morning, good afternoon every day? You want me to do this? I will do it. Then we started a midnight prayer. I told her, you know what? Everybody that conspired against you, everyone that did that meeting, everybody that was there, it's time for them to go. It's time for them to go. You cannot be uncomfortable in a land that God gave you, in a place where you are doing well. For how long are we going to be in this mountain? And can I tell you something? Within a space of 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, they all left. Not one person is there anymore. She called me the other day. She was telling me, how do I know? How do I know it was going to work? How do I know uncommon faith works? I tell her, you know what? In my life, throughout my working life, even when I was in Nigeria as a banker, there's one thing you cannot do to me, threaten me. You can't do it. If you give me a target and I will, before that, if I don't know anybody, it will happen. If you tell me you're not going to promote me, I will laugh at you. Before promotion, they will sack you. Because we have an inner room, we have an inner chamber, and that place is much more powerful than what people say or what people think. Use your faith in God. Use your inner chamber. If you're a Christian, as long as your hand is clean and you're doing the will of God, let them say, let them talk, let them make the gossip. You do your will in God. Use your uncommon faith. Even if it doesn't happen in your before at that time, the Bible says that the sin of a father will be visited on their children. Don't be comfortable. I don't talk too much. Sometimes people see me and they think, oh, I don't talk too much. You might call me a fool or blessing, she doesn't talk, she's, we can do anything, but they don't get it. I let you go, but I know where to deal with you. I know how to get you. I use my uncommon faith. Christians use their uncommon faith. You might mock at my God. You might mock of the fact that I'm a Christian. You might ask me, sure you guys are Christian now. Go ahead and laugh at it. But as a Christian, that office, that position that you are in, as long as you're doing the will of God, as long as your hands are clean, no boss, let me tell you, no boss. So, where am I? Okay, so this is me. No boss can be unbearing or no. So, Arabi, that's my answer to that question for you. And I'm